I've been talking about privacy now for years, but finally the rest of the world is catching up. A lot of new, very interesting, vibrant, privacy-centric tech startups. One of them, out of Boston, is Abine, and I've got not the founder, but the CEO, Bill Kerrigan, here with me today. Bill, welcome to TechCrunch TV.
Andrew, great to be here.
So Bill, Abine, why do we need it?
Why do we need it?
And first of all, what is it?
Well, we are the online privacy company. Our whole mission is to develop very easy-to-use tools for everyday internet users so they get control back of their personal data, which they've been losing control over consistently over the last 5 years.
Who have they lost it to?
Oh, they lose it to everybody. All those folks that are tracking you in every place you go on the internet.
Examples, Bill.
Oh, my goodness. All these ad models, Facebook, social networks, analytics company. They're all after your data.
That's a surprise, isn't it?
Not a surprise at all. In fact, in the Facebook model, right, you are the product. You are the product on that. And you have to understand how to manage your Facebook privacy settings so you start to control that relationship.
Google?
Google, absolutely. In fact, with the Google privacy policy changes where now they have the capability to aggregate data all around their services, this is another place where this company knows an awful lot about you. This is the creation of the real virtual you, right? People are now making real life decisions based upon what's happening in your life on the internet. We think consumers deserve transparency, choice, and control. That's what we deliver with our tools.
Transparency, choice, control, Bill. Tell me about Abine's product.
Well,
how are they doing this and what exactly are they?
You know, we think that privacy is the next multi-billion-dollar consumer market. I've got experience building large-scale internet security companies. I've seen identity theft protection market blossom over the last 5 or 6 years. This is the next big frontier. What we see today is consumers all saying, I'm really concerned about my privacy online. At the same time, they're saying, I've lost control of my personal data. Nobody has filled that gap, that need for the consumer with something they can truly use to gain control back. That's what we're all about.
Well, I had my friend Michael Furtick on the show from Reputation.com. He says he's doing that. There are other companies, but what are you doing specifically?
Absolutely, and I applaud the work that Reputation is doing out there, among others, on that they're on the side of the consumer just like we are. Our tools actually expose who's tracking you, and we give you the ability to block the trackers, while at the same time not interrupting the internet, not disrupting your experience on that. That's what consumers are looking for, in-context solutions. They get control back, they continue to experience the internet, but they feel in control.
Tell me more about this product or this suite of products. How much are they? What are they called?
Sure. We run a freemium model at Abine.
No advertising, I hope, though.
No advertising at all. In fact, I can't tell you very much about our customers because we don't track them except for our user community that signs up specifically to help us with the product. But our freemium product is Do Not Track Me. That's where we introduce this concept of control back to the consumer. It identifies all of the tracking technologies, be it from ad networks or social networks that are operating on your PC. And we put you back in control. You get to block the transmission of data back into their databases. This is the first step consumers can take to start experiencing the role reversal, that they're back in control of their data.
So you're the anti-mosquito spray on the internet?
We're the anti-mosquito spray. At the same time, we're not just a do not track company. We offer services that help a consumer manage the data that's already out on the internet about you. All the data that's being aggregated and collected by information brokers and sold and available to really for anybody to see. This is real personal data.
But not third-party stuff.
Oh, this is a lot of third-party stuff that's been aggregated. So a people search database that is selling a name, an address, the name of your children, your political affiliation, net worth, your estimated residence value. These are all personal facts about an individual that many folks like to have less public. So we have a service, $100 a year, that helps you manage that.
Are you trying to kill the online advertising business, Bill?
Absolutely not. But what we are trying to do is give consumers greater choice and control over how their data is collected and used. And consumers are conflicted today because they don't know who to turn to. That's where a company like Abine comes in. Our goal is to innovate and make sure we provide a user experience that protects the consumer, while at the same time gives them the opportunity to use the internet like anyone else.
But if everyone used your product, in your wettest dream, your biggest fantasy, everyone in the world was using Abine products, wouldn't the online advertising industry die overnight?
Well, look, Andrew, the industry is certainly under pressure today. Let's look at some major consumer brands and what they're doing. Mozilla recently announced last week a policy change around how they handle third-party cookies, impacting the ability of different companies to collect data that aren't part of the website experience you're on. Look at Microsoft and the announcement they had with, do not track.
Okay, but do not track and IE10, which I applaud, has been received very critically from within the advertising industry. Well, advertisers are furious.
Advertisers can be furious, but consumers are starting to take notice.
So you applaud IE10?
Absolutely.
Should Google do the same thing with their search engine?
Google is a great example where they've taken the first step. They actually do have a do not track feature in their browser today, in their Chrome browser today. We'd like to see them move more in the direction and the leadership position that Mozilla has taken in the marketplace.
But isn't Google's business model antithetical to this? Isn't Google in the business of giving stuff away for free and then essentially one way or the other selling our data?
Well, Google absolutely depends upon understanding your total digital footprint. You are the product in the Google relationship, much like you are in the product in a Facebook relationship. What we want consumers to understand is they do have choice and they do have tools they can use to help control the relationship they have with providers like Google and Facebook.
Bill, we haven't mentioned Twitter. Are we the product on Twitter?
Boy, I think Twitter is one of those consumer brands that has really sided with the consumer. They're one of the few websites that actually does honor the do not track signal that a consumer says, and they say they don't track. One of the myths that
why is Twitter, so Twitter's breaking from Google and Facebook on this stuff?
Privacy is good policy. Respecting your users is good practice. Today, we see is 8 out of 10 consumers are concerned about their privacy online. If you were in an industry where 8 out of 10 of your customers were concerned about how you conducted business, don't you think you'd change?
Bill, have we had the Exxon Valdez catastrophe yet in the data business, or has Armageddon not yet arrived?
We are one massive data breach away from Armageddon. With the amount of data that's being collected, and we've referenced Facebook, we've referenced Google here today, massive amounts of personal data out there, one data breach away from this market really taking off.
And what happens when that breach happens?
Well, what be the same thing I experienced in growing internet security and antivirus. Consumer awareness then spurs right to action.
Is there still opportunity in this space, or are the opportunities all gone?
No, this is just starting. I saw this very early in the decade at McAfee when I was running internet security.
You were SVP at McAfee, right?
I ran the consumer business at McAfee, and I saw the minute the mass market press started to talk about an issue, and in that case it was viruses and worms and Trojans, all of a sudden adoption took off. We're at the same stage with privacy, and now it's incumbent upon all of us in the entrepreneurial side to start to innovate, provide a user experience that gets a consumer back in control of their data.
What areas do you think are particularly ripe for innovation when it comes to this? What areas of the economy?
Well, when we think about, we really turn to our users to understand what they think is important to them. Tools that help them manage their personal information around their email, around their credit card, around their phone number, all critical pieces of personal information that they want somebody on their side versus somebody just collecting that data continually, tracking them, aggregating and selling that data. They don't know very much about it, but they don't like it.
Bill, you guys are based in Boston, you're VC backed. How is it being in the Valley? Do you wish you were here, or do you think that Boston offers solutions, opportunities for startups which perhaps Silicon Valley doesn't?
Well, the market is wonderful in Boston for entrepreneurship. So
by the way, in Silicon Valley, CEOs aren't allowed to have mustaches.
Well, I won't be out in the Valley then soon, but we do have wonderful partners out here. That's why I'm out here this week meeting with folks.
But seriously, Bill, What is going on in Boston? Is there a lot of vitality, a lot of startups? I mean, around, because I know that the founders of Abine came out of MIT.
Absolutely. So it's a very vibrant community around consumer privacy, around consumer web services today in particular, a growing mobile population in terms of startups. So no, Boston is a good place to think about with the talent base we have coming out of the great schools there. Great opportunity for us to build a big business in Boston.
And you don't need to be here?
We certainly have a presence here with a number of our partners, so we've partnered with a number of Valley-based companies and use them to help us spread the message and get the word out to consumers.
Finally, Bill, you haven't mentioned government. Any role here for government, or can the market solve the privacy problem?
Well, we certainly believe innovation is the key. When I think about what's going on in terms of tracking and data collection out there, those are technologies that are being used. It's our job as entrepreneurs to innovate on our side of the table to give consumers control back. So we're a big believer right now that innovation will get us a lot further than regulation or legislation at this point.
On that note, innovation solves the problem, no need for government. Bill Kerrigan, the CEO of Abine, or Abine, or Abine. Thank you so much for appearing on TechCrunch TV, and congratulations on catching up with me.
Great, thanks, Andrew.